And I want to also give a welcome from my wife and I to this week's We Connect session on budgeting to financial freedom. So today we've dropped down a few pointers that we want to, our objectives that we want to accomplish for the session. And of course, part of that is going to be to talk about budgeting, why it's important. We are going to look at how we built our budget that helped us to clear all of our debt. And then we're also going to look at how we use our budget to reach the goals that we've set for the future. And feel free at any time, to jump in if you have a question. We don't mind as we go through the particular slides. All right, so to get started, we need to understand what exactly is budgeting and how is this connected to financial freedom. So I would like to start with a question. When you guys hear budgeting, what are some of the words or things that come to mind? If you can send it in the chat, that would be great. What are some of the words that come to mind when you hear the word budgeting? We'll just wait a few seconds for you to put a few words in the chat. All right, sacrifice, thanks so much. Limit, savings, great. I love the engagement straight off the bat, guys. Keep me track of money earned and spent.
Good one.
That's a very good one. That's a very good one. So I want to pick out a few from here. Mindset, thanks Olivia. That's a good one as well. And I want to pick out sacrifice because in our culture, we grew up with, again, this mindset that budgeting was all about, being poor, cash strapped, right? But really and truly, how many of you know of a company or a person that is successful and do not write a budget, right? If you could tell me one person that does not budget or one company that does not budget and they're successful, I'll give you all the money in my wallet right now. Bear in mind, it's empty, but if you can tell me that, it'll be great. So budgeting is essentially that. It's knowing exactly how much money you have, what are your expenses that you need to occur, and also to balance out your income versus your expenses. And one of the most important things that budgeting does for you is let you know what you can and cannot afford, right? That's the biggest note I want you to take away. So if you're not writing that budget, if you're not putting it on pen and paper, you don't know what you can do in that specific period, right? If you agree with me, just type Y if you agree with that statement. Great, thanks so much. So it's a detailed plan for your money. Everyone knows that a plan is important. Anything that you want to do needs to have structure. It needs to have a plan, right? If you're building a building, you don't just go and lay blocks and carry up to the top, right? There needs to be a plan so that you know where you're going to start, where you want to go, and what you need to do. Yeah? All right. So financial freedom. Let's do the same exercise again. When you hear financial freedom, send us what you guys think. What are some of the words coming to mind? I'll give you a few seconds. Debt-free, nice. Stress-free, that is a good one. That is a good one. Stress-free, debt-free again, no bills. Oh, I don't know if we could get rid of bills. Having options and choices. That's a very good one, Jamal. Ability to, you guys are on point. You guys are on point. That is exactly what it means. I spoke to my wife today and I told her that someone's gonna say being rich. So now I owe her, how much money?
All the money in your wallet.
All the money, I owe her all the money in my wallet. So that means you guys are on point. It is about having choices. It's about having the ability to choose. That freedom is part of financial freedom because, of course, if you're going to be free, you don't want to be tied up with any other people, right? Having to pay all your money. I think we have the video started. Right. So if you are going to be financially free, yes, that freedom is a big part of that. And it's, as you said, it's the ability to choose. And what's more important is the ability to choose and not have to stress about the impact of money, right? So let's take a look at the definition that we have here. So you guys hit the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head. It's about making life decisions without stressing about money. So all these things that we love to do and that we want to do, but we are prepared to do them without having to worry about, am I going to come back home to a bank account with $0 because I want to travel, right? Am I going to go broke because I just had an accident with my car, it needs repairs, and I don't have the money? Yeah, that's fantastic, guys. So why is this important? Yeah. So I have a few points here about why budgeting is important and taking control of finances. So again, same exercise. What do you think is important to take control of your finances? Let's get those fingers typing. What's important to take control? No, nothing is tossed. That's okay. All right. Okay, guess so you can do more. Mm-hmm.
Because they can easily take control of you.
Wow, that's very powerful. That's very powerful, Jamal. So it doesn't take control of you. So taking control of your finances, of course, it helps you to do more. It helps you to make better decisions. It helps you to plan, right? Which carries us into our next point. Yes, eliminates unnecessary spending. That is very good. And it brings us to our second point, planning for the future, right? When you have control of your finances, you're able to direct your money to help you in the future. And that is so important because a lot of us, we just plan for the paycheck now, and we forget about the things that are going to happen in the future, right? We forget about our retirement. We forget about a doctor visit that we're going to have next month because someone's going to get sick. We forget about the tire that's going to blow your leaf on tomorrow. All those things are part of your future. And of course, they are planned into your budget. And we'll talk a little bit about that when we look at the structure. Improves cash flow. Now, I added this one. My wife didn't agree, but I'll tell you wait. For years and years and years, we thought we were budgeting. And when we found out about becoming debt-free and we did our research, we wrote a proper budget, which will show you that method. When we apply that method to our numbers, we found $200 to $300, right? So imagine all these years, we felt so tied down about our money. We felt as though we were broke. We felt as though we had no money at all. And then here we are using this new method of budgeting, and we found $300, right? $300. It was like, did we have this money before? Nothing changed, right? Our income didn't change. Our status didn't change. We did nothing different. So how is it that we had more cash just by putting down these numbers on a piece of paper? We'll see. We'll see shortly. And the last one, it provides a screenshot of your financial position. So over time when you're budgeting, believe it or not, writing a consistent budget every month tells you a lot about your lifestyle, tells you a lot about yourself.
If I can interject, I find when I say a screenshot of your financial position, we have been budgeting consistently for the last 21 months. And I can say, I know our peak months, I know the months where we make extra money so we can do more. I know the months where we make little money, so we know we need to rein in the budget a little bit. So that's what I mean when we say a screenshot of your financial position. It lets you know what you can do and how you can actually forecast what you can do in the future based on the past experiences you have with your money.
Yeah, and as Kelly said, it becomes extremely important because for us, we know that summer is a huge, expensive time for us. So we need to put in more work during those particular months. And because we're consistently budgeting and pooling together all those budgets, we're not able to say, well, hey, it's a slow period in January, so I need to put aside more money because it's going to get hard in June. It's going to get hard in July. It's going to be crazy at Christmas. And our budget lets us know when we can do these things and how much work we need to put in, right? If you're still with me, just drop me a Y or a K or I don't know what you do in the chat. Does that mean you're still there? All right, great. Thanks, guys. All right, so let's jump into the method of budgeting that we use and that we've been using for the last 20 months, consistently every month. And I will say without a doubt, this was one of the most important and critical steps that we took to getting that $68,000 cleared of our debt. Yeah, and it's called zero-based budgeting, right? If anyone's heard of this method before, yes, no, let us know. Yes, okay, great. So no, we got some no, yes, yes. Okay, no problem. So that's good. So you're gonna learn something today. So zero-based budgeting is, let me just say this is just one of the methods that you can budget. So feel free to do your research and find a method that works for you. But we find that for us, this was the best method. And what it is that it's taking your entire income for the period that you're budgeting for. So whether it be a week, 2 weeks, a month, looking at all the expenses that you will have for that same period, right? And when you do that, you must come up with zero at the end, right?
When it says zero at the end, if I can interject, when this says zero at the end doesn't mean that by the end of the month you're broke. It means that you're just accounting for every single cent that you made throughout the month. So it doesn't mean that you end up broke.
It doesn't mean that you're spending all of your money.
Yeah.
It just means that all of the money that you have is given accounted for and is given direction. So remember we said at the beginning that a budget is a plan for your money. So when you have that plan figured out, you need to tell your money, where are you going? Where do I need to go? And when we get to how this looks on a piece of paper as a template, then you understand a bit more. But just bear in mind that at the end, when you finish that budget and you're getting $2,000 and your expenses, let me not say expenses, but your entire budget is $2,000, all that money should be allocated to a location.
By the
end of the budget. Make sense? So does this include bills as well, savings, etc.? So Olivia, yes, it does. And we'll show you that in the template. It includes your bills, it includes your savings, whatever goals you set that you want to reach, that will be in your budget. And then when you look at your tally at the end, that should be equals to. So maybe the formula we have here is a little bit skewed. We should have a bracket that says bills, savings, and it's not, because it's not just all expenses, right? So thanks for pointing that out. That's important.
All right, so we're gonna discuss building a budget. And when we say building a budget, for years we were budgeting the wrong way. We felt like to write a budget is to get a piece of paper and you write down all of the things you have to do for the month. And we didn't at the beginning, we did not even write our income. We would just write what we needed to do for the month. What we needed to do for the month could have been $3,000 and our income only be $1,000. And that was what we thought was budgeting. But there's actually a way to budget. You have to build a budget. And before you write your budget, the first thing you should do is to set a goal. When you set a goal, it lets you know exactly what you need to do. So say, for example, I want to travel next year and I need to start saving for this traveling now. Your budget should reflect that you're going to be traveling in a year. So you set your goals and then you can write your budget to meet those goals. If you know you want to save $600 a month, then you work your budget around finding a way to fit $600 into your budget when the month comes. So you set goals so that you can stay focused on your objective.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on the $600 a month, and that does not have to be right away. Again, you're doing a budget every month, and your budget needs to reflect your plan. So you've already set a goal that's specific and it has a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So you said to yourself, I want to save $600 in over 6 months. So I expect that your budget has a category saying savings for $100, and that is there for the next 6 months. Does that make sense? So that's just an example of how your budget should be set up to reflect your goals. So every month, I expect to see a column saying $100 savings because your goal is to save $600 in 6 months.
All right, and the next thing you do to build a budget, you choose a tool. You can either use pen and paper. There's Google Drive. You can create a simple budget on Excel. There's also apps out there. Dave Ramsey has an Every Dollar app. There's another app called YNAB. There's several different ways to budget, and the way we chose was to use Google Drive. The reason we use Google Drive is because we can both access it at the same time. On an Excel sheet, it would have to be on a shared computer, but we can actually be on our phones and talk. We can actually talk on the phone and write our budget we can be on the same Google Drive preparing the budget. And I think that was more convenient for us in choosing a budget tool. So you choose a budget tool, right? And make sure that it's easy and simple to access on the go.
So the easy access becomes critical because when we start looking at, after you've done your budget, how do you stick to that budget and track that budget? And one of the things that becomes very tedious with budgeting is having to track to make sure you're staying within those categories. So we're always on the road, and it's not easy for us to accumulate everything that we spent and done and then having to put it on our budget tracker. So we find that making sure you have something that's accessible on the go means that you're always up to date and you don't have to be trying to figure out where money is gone missing, or you've missed expenses that needs to be put into your budget. So having something on the go is critical to make sure you're up to date in real time.
Right. The next step to building a budget. In order to find out what you can spend, you need to know how much you're bringing in. And income sources is different for us. Income for us is anything coming in. It could be that you found $10 on the ground. That's considered income for us. You went by your grandmother, she gave you $50. That's considered income for us. Your regular 9-to-5 job, overtime, every single cent that we receive per month is considered income. We document every single cent. So you should know all your income sources. And when we say income sources, we're speaking of net income, we don't do gross. So if your job letter says you're paid $3,000 a month, that's not what your income. Your income is what you have after taxes and after all the deductions are taken off. So it's important to know all your income sources. Right, and the reason for that is to use realistic numbers. You don't want to start your budget saying in your mind thinking you have $3,000, and when you actually write down your income, you only have $25,000, or you may have $5,000. But you assume you don't want to start a budget with assumptions. You use realistic and actual numbers.
Right. So I just want to give you a perfect example of what we went through at this income sources point, where we started out writing our budget and also including money that we thought was going to come before we got paid. And This happens because of our side hustle. As we mentioned in our bio, that I am a professional pianist. And what happens is sometimes I expect to get paid for a gig next week. And at one point, we were including that in our budget. So we had our salaries, and then we had all of the gigs that were going to come. And we budgeted, we budgeted all of that money. So you guys can guess what happened, right? You can put it in your chat. Guess what happens when you budget unrealistic numbers? You come short, sure. Yes, deficit, definitely. More month at the end of the money. That's a good one. Yep, you said it yourself. Oh, you definitely said it yourself. So we were at that stage where we realized we started spending money, budget bust. That's a good one. We did that, and we put ourselves in a uncomfortable position because we started spending the money, and then we realized all the money was gone, and we still had expenses left. So we made a big change there. What we did is that we kept the money that was coming in from the gigs, kind of like storing, like you store, what's called the egg nuts at winter. we were storing our money on an account, and when our salary came, we joined it together, and we used only that number that we can see. So if you can't see,
even if we worked for it,
yeah,
but we didn't have it in our hand at the time we were budgeting, it wasn't included in that budget. We will put it on the account then for the next month. So you only budget what you have, and not what you expect to get.
Or what you think you can get. Budget only will not account. Or your budget will be bust.
Next one, know all expenses for that period. This is a very important step in building a budget. What happens when you write your budget and you then in the middle of the month you realize, all right, well, I ain't budget for my haircut. Children got a school tour that you ain't budget for. It is important to foresee what will happen and try and get as many expenses as possible. Try to remember as many expenses as possible when you're preparing your budget. Next. And as it says, it reduces surprises.
So one of the things that we do is we keep an annual tracker. And on this annual tracker, it is broken down by month, and it has all of the annual expenses that we
incur.
Yeah. So when we are writing our budget, we always take a sneak peek over at the annual tracker to see what surprises we possibly have this month. And when we look at that, we can see, okay, well, next month, car insurance is coming up. 2 of our children are going to have a dentist appointment.
Things like a PriceSmart card renewal that you may not even be thinking about until you get a PriceSmart and realize
you got to pay an extra $75.
You got to pay $75. So all of those little things that you tend to forget, we have in an annual tracker, and we always go back to that tracker before we write our budget. So it's important to know all expenses and be realistic with your expenses. If you know that every month you go to the barber 4 times a month and your barber is $25, don't try putting the $60 in there just so your budget can look pretty. Be as realistic as possible when writing your expenses. We already discussed that we do a zero-based budget where we assign every cent to a category. Identifying fixed and variable expenses. Fixed expenses are your rent, mortgage, car insurance. What we would consider variable expenses are things that you can tweak. if you drive a bit less this week, then you can pay a bit less in gas. If you decide to eat oats every day this week instead of getting chicken nuggets, then you can reduce your supermarket bill. So you identify in your budget what is fixed. So you know, regardless of how much you get paid this month, my rent will be $900. If I only get paid $1,200, maybe I could squeeze out only $150 for gas and $100 for supermarket. But you identify your fixed versus your variable expenses and which expenses can be flexed. So this is to find out which expenses can be flexed and which cannot.
All right. So I know that we cover a lot here in building a budget. So I just wanted to, pause and see if you guys wanted to write to us anything about building the budget or any questions around building the budget. Or do any of you guys build the budget today, and what other pointers can you give us to help, and the audience, of course, to help make our budgets better? Yes, thanks a lot, Jamal. The annual checklist is very important because at the end of the day, if you don't account for those surprises, they have to come from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's a big part of keeping on your debt as well, because a lot of times, when we get there and we realize, oh shoot, I have to spend an extra $70 and I don't have it, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna swipe a credit card. You're gonna borrow it from best friend or mommy, and then if that is a recurring cycle, mm-hmm. and that builds up your debt. So the annual checklist is a great idea. Thanks, Jamal. Mm-hmm.
Alicia, I see you put every year car insurance seems to catch you off guard, and that was the case for us. Actually, when we were calculating our debt number, as we said, we had $67,000 in debt. Our actual debt was only about 63,000 of that was actually consumer debt, car loans, that kind of stuff. The other 4,000 was insurance premiums. And that's the reason why that $4,000 was in there, because those came up and we had no money for them. So we had to include that in our debt number. So it's important to either you prepare ahead of time by creating a sinking fund. A sinking fund is where you basically, if you know by December you have an expense for $1,200, from January you put down $100 every month, and that's considered a sinking fund, where you basically put small amounts each month till you get to the expense. And that is what helped us with that, Alicia, if that could be something you incorporate into your budget, a sinking fund.
Yeah. And on the same insurance point, sometimes you're welcome, Alicia. Thanks for the question. So another thing that works for car insurance as well is you can actually just pay the money directly to the company. Mm-hmm. So right now, with one of our cars, we have one car fully paid, and the other one we've been giving like $125 every month directly to the company, and they give us the cover note. So every month I go in and I pay the $125, and the car is covered for a month, and I will keep doing that until I think it was 8 or 9 months we had it set up for. So sometimes you can see if your insurance have that as an option, and give them the money every month directly, and you get that note that you're covered.
All right, so you're gonna get into the fun part, my part, and it's actually writing the budget. So this is a budget that we prepared. These aren't our numbers, our figures, but we just wanted to give an example of how a budget would look. So as you can see here, by the month is February 2020. And one thing we do, when you write your budget, you should have a projected column, which is basically what you intend to do. This is the plan, what you plan to do. Everything doesn't always happen exactly how you planned it, but this is the plan for the money that we have. So if you can see here, income, we have $2,100 for this person. This person makes $2,100 net income. This is what they get in their hand, not their gross income. And other income, maybe they would have sold something. They have a side hustle like Dwayne playing steel pan, or Granny gave them a birthday gift, something. But this person's total income for the month is $2,500. And I can't stress enough that to make sure that every single cent that passes your hand is accounted for in your budget. So the total income, as you can see, is $2,500. Then we go to expenses. The expenses, rent, fixed income, fixed expense, $650. Person would spend $300 in gas, internet and phone. We have $120. And you just go down the line. This is what this person plans to do at the end of the month. Excuse me a minute. Sorry. So if you see here, the total expenses add up to $1,760. So the person has $740 remaining. And then we go to savings. I spoke to Alicia, that's not about a sinking fund. Car insurance is due at the end of the year. So this person saves $100 every month to get to the $1,200 car insurance. $60 in savings. And this is this is the part here that was different in our budget. We had our income, expenses. If you look right here in expenses, you will see personal spending. What we did before we started our debt-free journey, we paid our bills. We were diligent in paying our bills. And after bills were paid, everything else was fun money, personal money, spending money. And that had to change. So if we got paid $200 and $150 went to expenses and savings and everything, the $50 was ours to splurge. And that is not how it should be done. You create a number, you set a number for personal spending. So this person's personal spending, their fun money, it doesn't mean, budgeting doesn't mean that you are straight and you don't have any fun, you can't spend any money. But that money needs to have an amount. You need to control your spending. So this person has personal spending of $150. And as you can see, after the expenses, after savings, there's $580 remaining. And this is what we did. We paid our minimum payments on each bill. So the credit card, we paid our minimum $50. The car loan, you pay your minimum $205. Personal loan, the minimum $145. And so that left us with these three bills, took us to $400. So there's $180 left in our budget. This is what we say when we said set objectives. Our objective was to become debt-free. Your objective may be to travel, or your objective may be to increase your savings. So that $180 that is left, our goal or our objective was to put that towards debt. So this 180 went to our smallest debt. At that time, our smallest debt would have been our credit card. So we would put that entire $180 to our credit card. And it could be 180 this month. Next month, it could have been $10,000. That $10,000 would go to debt because that was our objective for our budget at that time. Anything you want to add?
I don't know if you all know, but Kelly is the one who does all this number things, right? I don't like to get too involved with it. I try to put things in the budget and then I get a call saying, why did you put this here? It's supposed to be on the other side. And so I just stop putting things in the budget. But does this template make sense to you guys? Yeah, of course. Of course, it's true. But, I like to try to help out. I wanted to, feel as though I was giving them a little hand. So again, this is where we said before that having those goals is very important, because this template here and this person that we're looking at right now has a goal of becoming debt-free. So you can see that his money and his budget reflects that objective. So And the more changes he makes to this budget, or she makes to this budget, he can increase his debt payment, right? But it just to make sure that all of your what do you call the standard things? Your walls, right?
Oh, yeah,
Making sure your budget walls are covered. And what that means is that your food is covered, your shelter is covered, your transportation is covered. Those are the first 4 things that should be listed on your budget. And then you start pulling on the others, right? So then you can see here in the bottom left-hand corner that the income remaining is 0. This doesn't mean that you have $0.
Because you saved, you can see you saved, you put money towards your car insurance and you were able to pay extra money today. It doesn't mean that you're broke. It doesn't mean that you're spending poorly. It just means that you're accounting for all your money. It doesn't leave room for you to say, you know what, let me just go and spend this money willy-nilly. You're giving each cent a purpose. And if you look at the bottom here, we also have a notes column in our budget, just a simple reminder, something like for our wedding anniversary or something like that. This is where, if you don't have annual tracker, you can also create a notes column at the bottom of your budget to remember, hey, I have a dental appointment and it's going to be $90. So that's why we have a notes column at the bottom of there. Everyone understands the slide? Want to see it for a bit longer?
Yeah, so we actually have a question.
Yeah, please.
So the question is, if I'm budgeting for March, am I using February salary or March's?
Well, no, let me say that we've struggled with that question for a bit, and we had to get comfortable with how we want to approach it. So you need to be comfortable with how you want to do it. So let me give you an example, right? Most of us, we are paid monthly on the 25th. And we struggle with, do we go from 25th to the 25th? Or
to the 24th? Do we go from the 25th to the 24th?
Do we go, how do we structure that? So the way how we do it now is that
when we get paid on the 25th of the month.
Let her talk about this. I don't know why am I getting involved.
When we get paid on the 25th of the month, we run our budget monthly. So, for example, we get paid monthly. We got paid the 25th of February. That money is used for from March 1st to the 31st of March. So let me explain that a bit for you. So, for example, you have gas. You know, you put $50 in gas every week. And you put in your gas on Mondays. We go as deep as this. We put in our gas in our car every Monday. There are 5 Mondays in March. I don't know if that's true, but let's assume there are 5 Mondays in March. In March, our gas budget is $50 times 5 because there are 5 Mondays in March. So it doesn't matter what month you use your money for. You just need to know when is your start date for your budget and your end date. Are you going to be budgeting from Monday to Friday if you're paid weekly? Or if you're paid bi-weekly, are you going to be doing the first paycheck? Is it going to be covering the first 2 weeks? Or are you going to keep the money and budget balance the full 4 weeks? And for monthly, are you going to budget from the first to the last day of the month? Or are you going to budget from the day you get paid, which is the 25th or the 20th or whenever you get paid, till the 24th or the 19th. So just make sure that you have a start date and a cutoff date, and it's a fixed day every month. Because I found when we started and we budgeted from payday till the next payday, if we got paid on the 25th this month, you know, some workplaces will give you your money the 23rd, or around Christmas you get paid on the 12th. That messed with us because we would start spending the money from the 12th and it wasn't a good idea. So we'd have a start date and an end date. The 1st till the 31st. If February, we go from the 1st till the 28th. Whatever month it is the first day to the last day of the month for us. And that helps us a lot.
Yeah. And Olivia, yes, you're right as well.
From the following Monday after being paid till the day before the next payday.
Yeah, this method also works well with Christmas because, as you know, you get paid early and you have that urge to dig into that money already. So this was our first Christmas. Last year was our first Christmas on this new budget method. And it felt so good to know that I had already budgeted December 1st to 30th.
31st.
1st to 31st. And I did not have to touch that money that went on December 12th because it was not for December. It was for January, right?
And in January, we felt good that we were not broke.
You know what they say, after Christmas, you're broke. That's the saying. We all know that. But when you use this method, you account for everything that's going to go on
throughout the month, regardless of when money comes in. You know that you have already accounted for everything that you need for that month. So there's no reason to tap into other money. And for weekly persons, if you get paid on Friday, you can run your budget from the Saturday till the Thursday. But just make sure you have a start date and an end date. You must have a period in mind. When Alicia, when I was first introduced to budgeting, I was told to put in a miscellaneous amount. That was so wrong, and I started to realize that.
I agree. I don't like the word miscellaneous. It leaves room for wastage, right? So imagine you've done your budget and you have $500 left, and you put a miscellaneous column and add $500. What do you mean? What is miscellaneous $500? If you don't, this is the whole thing about, again, we coming back to having a plan. You're not gonna have. We don't have miscellaneous in our. We don't have miscellaneous because we know all the expenses are gonna come. We have our annual tracker that tells us what's gonna come. We have our emergency for if we have an emergency. So there's no reason to put money in there with a miscellaneous tag, right? Everything has a purpose and a value.
I can see someone putting miscellaneous if it's your first month budgeting, and to be honest, you never kept track of what you spend money on. I can see you having a little buffer in there for something that may pop up. But 3 months into your budget, you should have an idea of exactly what is going to be coming up each month, and you can fade away that miscellaneous column. So I would tolerate it for 3 months maximum.
So, Robinson, so yes, you are correct. I don't know if you guys can see these comments.
Yeah, it says to all panelists.
Panelists, but there's panelists, attendees.
Oh.
So I don't think everybody sees.
Oh.
Right. Sorry. No, right. So they can't. Right. So if you're going to comment, you have to change it to panelists and attendees so everybody sees. But we're still going to talk about, so, but as you said, Robinson, yes, if we get extra income and our budget is done and closed off, everything is zero, we accounted for all expenses, we accounted for everything that's going to happen, there is no reason to touch that money. So we put it
for us
for the next.
Let me explain that. Income for us has a cutoff date as well. Our 9 to 5 income, we know will come on the 25th, but for Dwayne's other income, we have a start date and an end date of what we can include in that budget. So using us as an example, for February, we got our regular 9 to 5 on the 25th. Any money, the income that we receive between the 1st and the 28th of the month is accounted for in February's budget. We must get the money by the 20th, not work for the money. We must actually have the money in hand between the 1st and the 28th of February to be included in February's budget. And on the last day of the month, or coming on to the last day of the month, is when we write our budget for the following month. So we have written our budget for March. So you must have a start date and an end date for income too. So if we receive money, when is the 1st of March?
On the 1st of March?
I know what day. If we receive money on Sunday, that goes on our bank account and it stays there until the end of March when we get our 9 to 5 income, and that amount is then put into the money that we will use or we will allocate in March for March's budget, which will be spent in April. You understand? Sorry,
just let us know if you're confusing you all, but we hope that you're getting the overall skeleton and structure of what we're trying to say.
Oh, okay, I'm following.
Okay,
Right.
great.
So the three T's. The three T's are to track, trace, and tweak. So the first one is to track expenses. After you write your budget, that is not where it ends. I check our budget every morning before I start work. I go on and I fill in what we spent the day before. So say yesterday or say today we had to pay a bill or we bought something to eat. Tomorrow morning before I start work, I go in our budget and I put in, you will see in these categories. Let me go back to the previous slide, sorry. So you will see gas, we budgeted $300. Well, this person budgeted $300 and they put in $50. In their actual then, in their actual, you will see $50 for now. So that's how you trace. You keep track of everything you do. It's not just to say, oh, $300 is gas and you just spend gas and you don't keep track of it. And the reason for that is to know where every dollar went.
And guys, I want to say that this was one of the critical, I keep saying critical. Everything is critical and essential. But this is one of the things that was a big change for us. Remember we said that for years we thought we were writing
a budget.
We thought we were budgeting. Mm-hmm. And before we started doing research on becoming debt-free and financial freedom, we had no idea that tracking was a part of this process. So we took a piece of paper, we wrote on everything that we needed to do for the month. We good, paper in the pocket, month gone, and within a week, bank account empty. I really like, have that ever happened to you? I mean, like, you just get paid and your account empty? I mean, you don't have to say it, but we don't mind sharing with you guys. So within a week time, 2 weeks time, we could not understand how in God's living, I don't know if it's the right phrase, but how could we be broke? Yes, living paycheck to paycheck. Exactly. So to get out of that cycle, you need to be able to budget. You need to be able to account for everything that's happening, right? Tracking is also important because many times we calculate in our head, I spent $50 today. Mm-hmm. I buy a roti for a chauffeur. I buy a drink. Man, that left me with $300, you know. You punch in the ATM, $20.30.
Where the money gone?
Where money gone? And you there so studying, hurting your head. Where my money? Right? So this is again where it's important to try and look at those dollars, right? So you know I'm coming close to my limit. I need to ease up. Maybe I don't go to Shafat today. Maybe I don't buy this pair of jeans that I wanted today. Just knowing where you're at each and every time so you can have that control is vital. It takes a lot of discipline and practice, right? We haven't fully figured out yet either because our pocket money is still going over every month. So we're still we're still working on it. It takes a lot of discipline to see that you're coming close to that $300 mark that you set for partying this month and tell yourself, guys, can't come out tonight. I can't come out. My budget say that I only got $50 left for the rest of the month and I'm ready to spend it. You have to build that confidence and that discipline because the more money you can accumulate and keep in your budget, the more you have to fund your goals and your future.
And there are two ways that we track expenses. We don't use cash envelopes as much as we used to, but there's something called cash envelopes where you have $300 for gas, you put $300 in an envelope. This is in a special envelope. You go to the Brydens and you buy a pack of envelopes and you put $300 in this envelope. And as you spend, you go to the supermarket, you spend $80, you keep that change in that envelope. So by the end of the month or even before the end of the month, you look in this envelope and you realize you only have $50 left, you know to reel in your spending a little bit. So we initially tracked using envelopes. if you're not someone who wants to sit down every day and write down exactly what you did, but you can try using envelopes. And we now track using our drive. So every time we spend money, we go on the drive. If I go Shafat, I put Shafat February 18th, $20. Dwayne gets a haircut, whatever date it was, $15. And that is how those are the two methods we use to track our expenses.
And let me tell you, when you introduced me to this, I was blown away because I felt as though I found gold. I was like, how were we controlling our spending before?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This cash envelope system literally changed our budget. It helped us to control our money so well. We looked in it, we knew it had a $10. We can only spend $10. The envelope has $10 and it says pocket money, spend $10. It can't spend no more because it's gone. Right? You have your envelope over there that says gas. I mean, so many times, and it made me reflect a little bit now, but so many times in the past, I'm asking my wife, where the gas money coming from, love? Who put in gas in the car this week? And we are there thinking, sometimes I will run down to the hotel, guys, is my check ready? Is my check ready? Because I know that gas is coming on tomorrow.
The grace that God put gas in our car plenty of times, I'm telling you. And even with the gas too, you know, you budget $50 for gas, we go to the supermarket weekly. Say we put $100 in, we spend $100 weekly at the supermarket. To control yourself, when you go to the supermarket, you don't take the whole envelope with the $400 in it. You take the envelope with $100. So that when you get to the cashier and the cashier says 105, you ease back something.
You better put it back.
You put back something. It forces you to have discipline when you do it. And we honestly, we can say up to this day, we still lack discipline. Yeah. It's something we work on, and rather than knock ourselves for it, we have found ways to tweak it. We go to the supermarket with just what we have to spend. So, you know, if you go in the supermarket and you're taking up 10 packs of Conquers and all kinds of things, you put them back because then you have no groceries. And that has worked us plenty of times. Yeah. So that is how we track our expenses.
Don't be shy.
Yeah. And the second T is to trace any discrepancies. Something may go wrong. Maybe you went to the gas station and you put in $50 in gas, but you throw the money. Say you don't want to put back your money in your envelope. So you put money one side and you get home and you realize it. As per my gas, I had 2 weeks of gas. I should have $200 left if I had $300. $50 a week. Bear with me. So 2 weeks gone, $100. But you only have $150 left in your gas envelope, although you should have two. This is where tracing comes in, is to find out where my $50 went. So you open all the envelopes, see if you put gas money in the wrong envelope, or you go back to your budget sheet and say, by the way, I only have $50 on my bank account when I should have $100. And you can then go through your bank sheet and realize, okay, somebody, or you had some subscription or something that took $70 or something out of your budget that you did not account for. So it's important to trace any discrepancies and fix the budget, right? And the last one is to tweak when necessary. You may be writing a budget every month with the idea or the plan to send $400. This is us talking to ourselves. With the idea that you're going to spend $400 a month in pocket money. And in reality, every month you're spending $600 in pocket money. You tweak the budget and you account and be realistic and say, you know what? I need to put pocket money at $600 a month. So that's where tweaking comes around. You monitor what you do and you can tweak your budget to suit. So tweaking the budget to avoid overspending. I don't know, you feel uncomfortable or defeated when every month you feel that you're failing, but it may not be that you're failing, maybe that you're underestimating what you need to do to get through the month. So just tweak the budget to avoid overspending. And that is something we need to do ourselves when it comes to pocket money.
Yeah, we really do. It's putting a wedge in, in how much money we have available to fund the next set of goals that we've set. Know that consumer debt freedom is out the way. It's gonna impact how fast we fill our other goals that we're working on now, which is having an emergency fund for our entire family for 6 to 9 months. And I see Jamal's answered a question about budgeting versus the kids. Well, guess what? Our kids are involved in the process, and there is a section for the kids. And again, it goes back to, remember we said before that a budget also allows you to have a snapshot of your financial position, right? So every month, we know what to expect from our children. At certain points during the term, there are certain things that happen. Right?
A school tour just pops up.
You know tours are coming here. You know that sports is here, coming at this point. And I get what you're saying, because every day they come home with a paper telling me bring back $20. Right? Bring back $20, they got this, they got that. So we challenge our children to present their own budgets as well.
Or older too.
Or only the older ones, the 11 and 9, to present their budget. They do have a column in our budget sheet saying children, kids, and the surprises that do come. And I think that's a good point because we take it from our pocket money.
Yeah.
So
they have the kids section. We have, for example, $100 in kids, and that covers lessons, dancing, that kind of stuff. And we also always put a small amount in there, like a $50, because someone may need paper for school, a pencil, something around that lines. But if for whatever reason the tour comes up and there's no more money left in their kids section, we normally just take it from our pocket money. And that's probably why we go over pocket money all the time, Jamal, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so, because we might be using that money for other things other than what it's meant to, and that is for us to enjoy and buy dollar wings with.
So you put an amount in it, the budget for them, and you put an extra amount just for pop-ups, $50 even. And if you don't happen to spend the $50 this month, you could always roll that $50 into next month. So if next month there's $100, something, you're prepared.
So before we go in now to actually filling in the numbers and looking back at this budget here, I see a question regarding
sinking funds. Bassiana?
Yes.
Bassiana.
So we do have them separated. And when we say separated, sometimes you have one bank account, but it has different, you know what, Kelly? I keep doing this.
For us, we have a joint account. And for example, there's savings and checkings. We may have our sinking funds in our savings account, and we may have our medical fund in our savings, one in our savings and one in our checking. So yes, we do separate our sinking funds, and we also have a tracker on our drive that shows how much money is in there. So every month we replenish our sinking fund, for example, $200. But this month we took out $50. We have a tracker in our budgets that says balance brought forward $50, replenished or deposited $500, spent whatever, and it has the balance. So we should know how much should be in that sinking fund at any time. And it's separate from our emergency fund. It's separate from the money we accumulate as income, and it is separate from the money that we're spending now. So we have a lot of accounts that holds all of our money. So moving into the actual, if you remember the slide before, it only had projected, but you can see there's an actual column here now. So the end of the month has gone, you have tallied up, and you can see here, you said you will bring in $2,500. Your actual is $2,500. In terms of rent is a fixed expense. You kept within your budget for gas. Telephone was the regular $120. And if you look here, you budgeted $250 for supermarket, but your actual was $300. And personal spending, you budgeted 150, but your actual was 200. So instead of your total expenses being the 1760 that it should have been, you managed to get your total expenses to 1860. These savings out here remain the same. You spent the same, well, not spent, you allocated the same $160 that you had planned. But look at the change, how it affects your goal. Every time you overspend in an area, it affects your bottom line. So we intended to put $180, but because we overspent in our expenses by $100, we are now only able to put $80 into to extra debt. And this is the important part of the budget. This lets you know what? I need to control myself because I have goals in place. I have made a decision to do better with my finances, and this is something I need to work towards. So this number hits you and it makes you feel kind of bad. You want to do better. And the same thing, you may have underspent in supermarket. You could have had a 200 in supermarket, and you may have stuck to your personal spending. And that extra $50, I can't see the figures on the savings and debt. Sorry, let me.
Oh, okay. So you understand what's happening. That's the chat window that we had was, so I don't know to keep the chat window away from the sections that you guys are looking at. Okay, good, no problem. So this is where we said at the beginning that tracking is very important. Setting those goals are very important because your budget reflects that. And this is the system that we've used. So for us, our goal is to keep all these things down as much as possible, keep this section up, and keep this section up, right? So we do whatever it takes. Sometimes when we set a goal saying we might work backwards, there are sometimes where we might come here in our extra debt payment section and put $500. And we're like, you know what? We don't care what happened. $500 needs to be paid the debt this month because we have a goal.
And we have done that plenty times. We set our goal, and we know this month we want our debt to be at 13,000, and we're at 13,500. We will put that 500 in there, and we will cut some of those variable expenses. Instead of getting 2 haircuts, you get 1. Instead of, so you just tweak your budget to suit your goals. And in this example, we have it here where the extra debt payment only went to $80. But if you overspend in supermarket, you could have taken that money from somewhere else. Maybe you overspent in supermarket, you could have spent less in personal spending so that wouldn't have affected your 180 in extra debt payments. So you can tweak your variable expenses to control or to ensure that your extra debt payment always remains what you had planned for. And to answer, so when do we make our payments? We are rebels. So as we wrote our budget, if the budget said that we had $2,000 to pay the debt, regardless of our actuals, we would put that $2,000 to debt. So if we had to eat oats every morning and every night for dinner, that's what we had to do.
It was no joke. It was no joke.
I don't know if that's something we would recommend, but soon as we wrote our budget, whatever the budget said went to that. Yeah, we put it to that immediately and struggled through for the rest of the month, to be quite honest.
I tell you, Jamal, so much times, Jamal, I took 2 ramen to work, put it in the microwave. A girl come and ask me what's going on. You're poor? I said, no, babe, I am poor. I am poor at all. I know what objectives I have set this month, and this is what I need to do to meet it. So sometimes you just have to know that you have to make a lot of sacrifices, right? Yeah, I tell you, you have to make these sacrifices, and we had to make a lot of sacrifices because at the end of the day, this budget had numbers that needed to be met. The same thing that a company does, right? You need to treat this like a business. When a company say, hey, I have to make $1 million in revenue this month, here are the actions that need to be taken to make that $1 million, whether it be activities, promotions, discounts, they do that, and we do the same. We had to make X amount of money paid this month. Therefore, the budget is structured to do that, and we will do anything to make sure that we keep within all these limits and we meet those goals. So coming down to the ending, we left just a little something to remember us by, and we hope that it's something that you guys can take away.
And it's to let you know that yes, we are debt free, and we think it's something that has helped us tremendous. But up to now, 20 months in, and we may not be perfect, and we can tell you that our budget is also not perfect. There are still times in our budget that we are like, what are we doing?
Yes, a lot of times accountability partner is very important.
Yeah.
Accountability partner is very important because you need somebody that has the same goal and drive as you to call you back. You know, a lot of times I have to tell Kelly, nope, no dollar wins tonight, babe. It's not happening. The budget says it can't happen, right? So it's going to be very critical. Who's calling me out in front of all these people? Critical. Thank you. So, yeah, we got to eat ramen together.
That doesn't mean to eat unhealthy through your whole journey.
No.
No, we don't recommend that at all, but there were some times that ramen had to eat. Jamal, so we aren't going into your debt-free journey. This discussion was tailored more towards how we budgeted towards debt freedom. I believe we can go into our debt-free journey.
Yeah, I think we'll speak to the organizers and have another session, but on our website, debtfreecaribbean.com, we actually documented all of our experiences that we had on this journey, all of the ups, all of the downs. So you can feel free to browse on that. But this session was mainly about
budgeting.
What's the tools and how we use budgeting to get out of debt. But I'm sure that at some point in time we will come back. We enjoyed the session. It's our first webinar session, believe it or not. And we enjoyed it. And we enjoyed you guys. And I am sure that we will plan with the organizer to do more sessions because there's so much we have so much knowledge now packed over the last 20 months that we want to share. And not only about budgeting, but how do you cut your expenses down to get more money? How do you use a budget to create more money? And we in the Caribbean, how do we do it in the Caribbean? Because it's very hard to find ways to grow income in the Caribbean.
Yes, it is.
So tough. We are jealous of the people that we follow overseas. 20 and 50 possible ways to just sit down at home and make $100 US a day. I would like to make $100 US a day, right? So it's crazy. So we're surely going to plan other sessions. You can come and join us on our page, see what we're doing going forward, because it's not done. We're debt-free, yes, but there's so much things we now have to do. We have to plan for our future, plan for our kids, plan to travel, plan to do the things that we want to do, because we want to be free. We want to enjoy our money. Yeah.
So we're accepting any questions.
Yeah. Anything else that you guys want to know or talk about before we close off?
If it's a debt-free question, you can also answer as well.
Yeah, we don't mind.
Thank you, Dwayne and Kelly. So I'm going to ask those who have questions, feel free to raise your hand because we can unmute your mic and you can actually share your question with us live. So please, we encourage you to do that. While we wait for the questions to come in, I am going to share our feedback form with you so you can take a few seconds to fill it out. So we do have one hand raised. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Olivia. Hi, Olivia. Are you with us?
Hi, good night.
Hi, good night.
Yes. My question is, if someone has deductions made from your salary already, so your income, you're paid $200. Your direct deductions will be $50. So your income, your in-hand income will be $150. After your expenses and everything, you will still have to put or if you want to, you can still put extra towards what the deductions were already made for, or just keep that in savings, or totally up to the person?
To the beginning, you said that your income is actually 150. No, your income is 200. When we say net income, we are only speaking about government imposed deductions.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a loan, for example, and the loan is taking $50, that is still income. You have to pay the loan. You have no choice but to pay.
Right. Right. So it's already taken out. But if you
Right.
want to, like how you had the extra debt payment, that's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. You
All
can then make an additional payment towards that loan to get it down faster, I should say.
Yes, that's what we did. All of our loans were deductions, were done by deductions, and we went in when we got paid every month and we made our extra payment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you don't get the regular
You
payment.
don't just have to
You get
wait for the actual deduction. You can get the deduction taken out as normal and then just make an additional payment that would then lower your monthly payment or your balloon payment, to say.
Yes.
Yeah. And when you do that as well, it helps bring down your debt quickly, for the main reason that your minimum payment or your minimum deduction has already taken care of the interest that is built up to that point.
Yeah.
So when
Right.
you balloon payment right after, you're actually paying everything to your principal.
And not
Right.
interest again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand. And I again encourage you to complete our feedback form, because your feedback is very important to us and to our presenters as well.
Yes. Another point I would like to make also is that if you're trying to become debt free and you have deductions, to keep all your deductions for each loan at the minimum, and you put the extra money you have to be or to one loan. You don't scatter the money. So say, for example, you have two loans and the minimum payment is $50 and $80, but you just set up your deduction for $100 and $120, to reduce the payments to the minimum and let that extra money that you were paying go to one loan only. So you focus on one loan at a time.
Thank you, Kelly, for that. So I don't see any further questions. So I think we will wrap it up here. But I do want to encourage you to follow Dwayne and Kelly on Instagram at Debt Free Caribbean, because I'm sure they have a lot more in store in terms of information, and you can feel free to reach out to them there as well. Of course, you can follow us at Work Consultancy Inc. on Facebook, at Work Consultancy Inc. on Instagram at Work Barbados _. So please feel free to go and follow us. Our We Connect sessions happen every Thursday at 7:30, and you can stay tuned to our social media to find out what's upcoming. And of course, we're going to post some highlights from today's session, so please remember to give Dwayne and Kelly a thumbs up, because they did a wonderful job. Thank you for that. Thank you to our audience, thank you to our presenters, and we hope to see you next week for our next session of We Connect.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
We appreciate it, Brittany.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.